Welcome to our 600 square foot apartment in New York City on the Upper West Side. Hi, Apartment Therapy. I'm Heather.
And I'm Michael.
And this is Lennon, Georgie, and James. Inevitably, moving into a 600 square foot apartment as a family of 5 is going to pose some unique challenges. And one of those just being like, how do you fit it all? Like from a storage standpoint, from a play standpoint, all of that. I feel like we figured out the best layout that worked for us to still have some walkway space and for the girls to still have some space to play in the floor of their room. And we've tried our best to go up, putting all of our books on these shelves and stackable storage crates for the girls' toys and things like that. So trying to put as much stuff up and on the walls as we can. I think that's really helped us to minimize clutter and things on the floor and piles of things, and has freed up some floor space for us as well. This is our living room / everything room. It's the center of our apartment. It is where we spend so much of our time on the couch. The kitchen table is basically in the living room, so it also serves as kind of like a dining room. If decorating a brand new space feels really overwhelming, to start with one thing. For us, we started with this sofa, and so when we put it here, it helped the rest of the space kind of come to life. Like we knew, okay, this is how much space we have next to the sofa, and then what might fit there, and then that kind of led us to the right side table that would fit in the space. And then the design of that then got us thinking about, well, what dining chairs would pair nicely with that? And so I feel like it can get overwhelming when you're thinking about the entire space as a whole. And so if you kind of pull it in a little bit and start with just one piece, whether that's a beautiful rug that you love or a piece of artwork that you love, I feel like that'll kind of inspire you as you go. We also wanted to feature the books on our wall shelves that we got from Burrow, which we love. Another piece in here that is really multi-purpose for us is our console table that we have. It serves as a storage for our cookbooks. It was a vintage find that is one of my favorite furniture pieces in the whole apartment. Definitely wanted to have a neutral foundation in pretty much our whole apartment. Having a neutral foundation helps the space feel bigger, and it helps it feel brighter, which is necessary in a small space. We want to do all that we can to maximize the square footage and make it feel as big as we can, and so I feel like having a neutral palette really helps with that. This is our kitchen, the home to our Easy Bake Oven, as we so lovingly call it, our teeny tiny appliances. We love to cook. Michael and I love to cook together on Fridays. Usually we cook together all the time, but Friday nights are like our at-home date night where we put the girls down and have dinner after they go to bed, and we love to cook together and love to cook as a family. The girls and I bake a lot, and so we spend a lot of time using our kitchen. So we knew that we needed to, again, just maximize the space as much as we could, and we have very little counter space, and so it's like a big cutting board that sits on top of our stovetop, and so that almost doubles our counter space. There's a hanging basket that we have that's been really helpful in storing a lot of our produce. Another thing that's been really helpful is our spice rack from Evermill that hangs on the wall above our stovetop, and so that's been helpful for keeping counter space clear. This is our bedroom. We really wanted our room to feel like a bit of an escape, serene and not too cluttered, a place that we could rest easy and relax. And so one of my favorite things about this room is the window, and I love the view of the fire escape. I think it's so fun. We've never lived in an apartment building that has a fire escape before, and so it feels very fun and special to New York. And so we knew that we didn't want to overwhelm the decor in our room and take away from that, especially right now with the park being so green. It brings a lot visually, even just through the window, and that takes up a lot of visual space. And so we wanted to keep everything else pretty clean. Our Serena and Lily sconces that we have, they're pretty much the only decor we have on that whole back wall behind our bed, in hopes to give it something special visually, but not take up too much space. We also found a really great desk, as Michael does a lot of his schoolwork and things in the evenings at home. Goes up really high and fits perfectly in the little nook that we have. So that has been super functional and was a really lucky secondhand find. We also put in a really large frameless mirror on one of the walls. I really wanted it to be frameless so it wouldn't feel bulky, and so that it would almost kind of like disappear into the wall and make the room feel big. That has made such a difference in our room. It makes it feel twice as big having that big mirror on the wall. And then our pine dresser has been with us since we first got married. It's a really special piece for us. We've had it for years. It was in Lennon's nursery when she was first born, and so that's one that we'll keep forever. There's some space underneath it that we hide some things underneath, as well as under our bed that we got from Floyd. It's a platform bed, and so it has a lot of space underneath, which has been really great for storage and has helped us maximize the space in our room. This is the girls' room. It is by far our favorite room in the apartment, and we're so glad that they ended up in here. It has been the sweetest space for them to share and play, and it gets lots of natural light as it's on the corner of the building. We're in a corner unit, and so they have a nice corner window, and it's the only room in the apartment that has 2 windows. So it's very bright. The ceilings are really high, and so it feels a lot bigger than it actually is. We spend a lot of time in this room, and so we wanted to create as much space for the girls to be able to play in there as possible. Their bunk beds are really great that we got from IKEA. They're super low to the ground, and so the bottom bunk almost feels like part of the floor. It doesn't feel like a big piece of furniture there, so play can kind of extend from the bottom bunk to the floor and makes it feel like it doesn't take up floor space because it kind of is part of the floor, if that makes sense. We also did a big area rug, a big jute area rug in their room so that the floor wouldn't feel broken up. So that it could feel big, almost like it's carpeted, so that it could feel big and comfortable for play. And we hung a lot of things on the walls in their room and did a really tall bookshelf for all of their books. We tried to go up as much as possible, wanting them to have as much open space to play as possible in their room, and we put a lot of their toys in the stackable storage crates that we got from Hay Design that we put on top of the bookshelf. The tall ceilings make that really helpful, so we can just kind of keep stacking and going up. So that's been really great. We also utilize their closet. Thankfully, because they're so small, their clothes don't hang down very far, and so we have a lot of space underneath their hanging clothes that we put. There's some stuffed animals in their closet, their dollhouse, that's where their dollhouse is, and it's something that we just couldn't part with when we moved here, and so we found a way to make it happen that they could keep their dollhouse. We got James's crib from UF, and it's a brand that we love. The crib is beautiful. It's also really functional. It converts really easily to a toddler bed, and so as James grows and the girls continue to grow, it allows for their room to grow with them, and we don't have to redesign or get a new piece of furniture or anything. This is our bathroom. It is obviously very, very small. There is no countertop space in here at all, and this room was actually kind of a challenge because all of the walls are tile, and because we're renting we can't drill holes, so we couldn't hang any shelving. So we really had a time figuring out how to maximize storage in the bathroom. We got a rolling storage cart from Yamazaki that has been really, really helpful for storage. It gives us a little bit of a countertop space as well as shelving, which has been really helpful. Hanging our towels on the wall with the towel rack that we have has been really great as well. The space-saving storage pieces that we found for this space have helped it become a really functional, small space.
The other thing I would just say is, for people who might be overwhelmed moving into a small space with kids, it's just not always pretty. It's just part of it. So don't have the expectation that it will be. And we certainly can raise our hands and be community for you in terms of validating that it is difficult and it might look like it's easy, but it's not. But at the end of the day, the hard things are what make it worth it.
Bye, apartment therapy.
I like apartment therapy.
Say thanks for coming over.